bed with a man I don't know before. This is exciting.
Yes, you have.
Yes, you have, Barbara.
That's just not true. I'm insulted.
Nicole walked into the tank looking for $250,000 for 5% of her clean, bug repellent, and sunscreen line. So she has a full line of different products. This is her Shark Tank bundle that she's selling on her website right now. There's a bug repellent, sunscreens, and an itch relief balm. Like I said, her big thing is that they're DEET-free, chemical-free, and clean. But on top of that, they're also supposed to feel and smell better than your average bug repellent. All the sharks commented on how nice it smelled. Her average margins for her products are between 79 and 85%, so specifically this Golden Hour bug repellent cost her $4.53 to make, and she sells it for $22. They launched in 2019 and got $45,000 in sales, and now in 2022, year to date when she was on the show, they were at $1.5 million and on track to do $2.1 million. However, they are not profitable yet. They are projected to be profitable in a year and a half, so we'll see. And also, they have about $500,000 of debt on the company. She does about 85% of her sales online, but really believes retail is vital to her business. She talks about the convenience of it, like if you've planned a day at the park but you need sunscreen right now, that's kind of her defense for keeping it in retail when all the sharks think that that's a bad idea.
You're going to be losing money in retail, won't you?
Not necessarily, because...
Not necessarily is a whole lot different than no.
Mark thinks she's going to need a lot of money to make this thing actually succeed, and that over time, that small percentage of 5% is going to get diluted to nothing, so it's not worth it to him, and he goes out. Barbara's interested, though, and she makes an offer of $250,000 for 10% with a $2 royalty per product until she's paid back. Of course, a royalty is like the calling card for Mr. Wonderful, so he has to throw in an offer as well of $250,000 for 5% with the contingency that his equity never get diluted and a royalty of $1.50 until he gets $750,000 paid back to him.
I mean, if there's anybody up here that knows how to sell a mosquito product,
Thank you, Lori, it's me.
Well, you're the biggest blood-sucking thing up here.
He has more in common with the mosquitoes.
That's why
right?
I know this product line.
We're trying to get rid of bloodsuckers.
And what do you know? Lori's also interested. She invested in a product called the Bug Bite thing a while back, and it's doing really well, and she thinks she can be a big help to them as well, and offers her $250,000 for 5% with a $4 royalty per item until she's paid back.
Until I get... Wait,
Let me rephrase how
Similar.
royalty. When someone asks for a royalty, only until I'm paid back. That is the equivalent saying, I don't really want to give you any money.
No, it's not.
Of course it is. It's
No,
just,
I'm gonna.
here's
Mark,
my money, you
Mark,
give it right
you're not
back.
giving an offer, so you should just,
I'm just telling you how
sit there and be
royalties
quiet.
work.
Tony Xu, founder of DoorDash, is our guest shark, and he believes this can be a big business and is more interested in the equity than trying to take money out of the business. So he offers $250,000 for 10% as straight equity deal. After hearing this, Barbara says if that's what she wants to do, she's fine with no royalty and that she'll match Tony's deal. Nicole asks if Tony and Barbara would be interested in teaming up together, and they are. In the middle of Nicole trying to make a deal with them, Lori's got something to say, though.
You know what, Nicole? I'm sorry to say it. I'm out.
After Lori's done unnecessarily going out, Nicole makes a counteroffer to Barbara and Tony of $125,000 for 5% each, totaling to $250,000 for 10%, and they make a deal. So final thoughts, I'm not really one of those people who's super interested in like the chemical-free, like clean products, and I really don't even want to touch on all that because it's just too much. But I am somebody who attracts mosquitoes like nobody's business, and I hate the feeling and smell of bug spray, so I might be interested in trying this once summer rolls around, but mostly because I hate the feel and smell of bug spray. The price might prevent me from actually trying it, but we'll have to see. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.
Lit up, got in.
Just one more.
That's cool.
Mark said complete, but that was lackluster. Are you really a shark?
Braxton, MT, and Eclemus walked into the tank looking for $100,000 for 5% of their electronic metric tracker for workout equipment. So here it is. It's basically a pin that you put in the machine where the weights and stuff are, and it tracks things such as if you're doing the rep correctly, tempo, range of motion, and all that goes into an app on your phone that helps you keep up with your workouts. I've said it before, and I'll say it again, I do not work out, so I hope I'm explaining this all correctly. A little side note, between the three of them, they have 8 degrees and 15 years plus experience in software and manufacturing and supply chain. Also, Braxton is a patent lawyer, so they're just like a crazy strong entrepreneurial trio. On the show, they say it would cost them $99 to make if they ordered 1,000 units, and they plan to sell them for $199. I say would because this company is still pretty much completely pre-revenue. When they were on the show, they only had 10 devices. They sold 5 before they came on, and the other 5 they couldn't sell because they had to bring them on the tank. Their plan at the moment is to give them to trainers for them to use with their clients to start gaining interest.
What if I don't want any of that? You know, the cool part to me is I just want to use this as my pin and it just tracks my reps.
Mark, I think what you're asking is there a way for just you to use it on your own?
That's what I wanted for.
I think that's the business here, guys.
Yes.
I think you have a big business in consumers, but a small business with trainers.
So they say they have future goals to get this in the hands of people working out, but they said they need the funding to be able to get to that point. And for some reason, at this point in the show, it just feels like the communication between the sharks and the guys completely breaks down. Because the guys have said they want to be able to make it a consumer product eventually, but can't because of funding. And for some reason, the sharks keep acting like they're saying they never want to do consumer. It was so confusing to watch. I just wanted to jump in there and mediate this conversation because I just felt like I was missing something. So Mark hits on again that he thinks it's great as a consumer product, but he just hates the whole idea of giving it to trainers. On top of that, he's scared about how much analytics they're wanting to involve because it's going to make it harder on the business as a whole. So he goes out. Lori thinks they need to simplify this whole thing down and says she's not a workout queen, so she goes out. Barbara's worried that they haven't really gotten this into the hands of many people, so they don't know what future issues might arise, and because of that and how early it is, she goes out. Tony, our guest shark, on a similar note to everybody else, suggests they just need to get this into consumers' hands as quick as possible and let the consumer say what's working and what's not, and go from there. But with how early they're in, he's out. As usual, all roads lead back to Mr. Wonderful, who talks about a deal he has with the workout company PRX and wants to make the guys an offer. The first part of the offer is that he's going to have PRX do their manufacturing for them. Along with that, he wants $100,000 for 25% of the company. They really don't want to give up that much equity, though. They feel like they've put in so much work, so they counter $100,000 for 12.5%, with a $150,000 line of credit, and say the highest they could possibly go for just $100,000 is 7.5%. Mark chimes in with his famous 25% of a watermelon is a whole lot better than 100% of a grape line, and they make one final counter of $200,000 for 20%. But Kevin stands firm with his original offer and gives them one last chance to accept it, but unfortunately, they don't make a deal.
Damn, guys.
Wow.
Sometimes it doesn't work out. God.
Final thoughts, even after watching this episode twice, I'm just so confused what the big breakdown of communication was about the consumer product thing. The guys clearly wanted to go in that direction, but just needed funding. And from the looks of their website, it looks like they are going in that direction currently. They have pre-sales up right now. But the sharks were just acting like they were saying they never wanted to do that. They only wanted to do it with trainers. It just made my head spin. But overall, I do agree this is going to be best as a consumer product in the long run. And I do think having a partnership with PRX would have been super helpful, but I understand where they're coming from, even if I don't agree. And like I said, I do not work out, so I have no idea if this is something that people would actually be super into. I'm especially curious if people would be into it at the $199 price, or if that seems like something like way too expensive for this. So if you work out, please let me know in the comments. All y'all let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next one.
Rosa, didn't we go to school together?
Yeah, we did. Thank you for remembering.
Rosa walked into the tank looking for $500,000 for 5% of her sparkling probiotic and prebiotic drink for gut health. So here's the different flavors they have, and in each can they have 5 grams of prebiotic fiber. They also have 90% less sugar than a soda and 50% less sugar than kombucha, which I thought was really interesting. One of our goals with this is to reach people who want to get the prebiotic and probiotic health benefits, but don't like the taste of things like kombucha. It cost her 90 cents to make, and each can sells for $3.49, and she thinks she can get her costs down to 70 cents in a year. Like most of the new trendy drinks that are out there, you can buy them on her website for a pack of 12 for $44, or if you subscribe, You can get them every 2, 4, or 8 weeks, and you get a 12% discount, making them $38.72. She launched in 2022 and had some huge orders from office headquarters like Facebook and Google, but then, as we all know, COVID hit and knocked out all that revenue for her, but that didn't stop her. She ended up knocking on 200 different grocery store doors and ended up getting in 100 of those stores, and she launched her website. Now, in 2022, her year-to-date sales were at $1.4 million when she went into the tank. However, they are not profitable yet. Before we go deeper into the numbers and what the sharks had to say, I have 2 little side notes. First is from the beginning clip, and it's that her and the guest shark Tony went to business school together, which I just think is hilarious. They weren't in the same class, but apparently they kind of knew each other adjacently. The second thing, and way more important, is if anybody recognizes where this outfit is from, please tell me. I want it so desperately. Look how cute it is. Like, if you recognize it, please comment. Please help your girl out. Back to business. So the sharks are going to be her first investors, as we've seen a lot this season. Last year, she raised $2.1 million from other investors, and she raised that money through what's called a pre-money safe at a $6 million cap. Okay, so what's a pre-money safe? For starters, SAFE stands for Simple Agreement for Future Equity. To explain it as simply as I can, you're pretty much raising money without putting a valuation on the company, and after you do raise money that puts a valuation on the company, you convert the money you raised from the original investors into equity in the company based off 3 things. 1, the valuation you ended up setting for the company. 2, the money the investor put into the safe. And 3, the cap you set on the pre-money safe. I am not a business person, so I hope I explained that all correctly. If this is something that really interests you and you want to learn more about how these kind of agreements work, I would recommend these videos from Carta on YouTube. They're what I watch to try to figure out how to explain it to y'all. Why it's important for us at all is because it's going to affect how the sharks make offers, or even if they want to make offers at all. Speaking of which, let's get into what they said. We start with Kevin, who says he won't even get out of bed for 5%, so he's out. Lori doesn't see the risk matching the reward, so she also goes out. Mark loved this drink, but again, he brings up that being only a 5% investor, it's going to make it harder for him to get a lot of gain from the future upside when they are a profitable company, so he goes out. Then we get to Barbara, who has made drink deals before, and I'm just going to let her tell her story.
Listen, the first time I cried when I lost the money. The second time I put in more money to follow my bad money. I lost that too. And then I wrote a note to my attorney, signed it, had it notarized saying, kill me if I ever go into another beverage company. And I'm afraid he would kill me, actually. I'm out.
So yeah, she's out. I tried to spend some time figuring out what the 2 drink deals were. One of them is for sure chill soda. The other I think she's referring to might be third wave coffee. I wasn't sure if that's what she was talking about because it's more of like an instant coffee powder thing, which I didn't consider a drink deal, but I guess technically it is. So we're left with our guest shark Tony, aka an old classmate of Rosa's, who has the same fears as the other sharks, but wants to make her an offer, and offers her $500,000 for 9%. Now, we get back into the issue with the SAFE agreement, because she can't go under a $6 million valuation because of it. So she asks if he'd be okay with making some of those shares advisory shares, specifically 3%. And they end up making a deal for $500,000 for 6% equity with 3% advisory shares. Final thoughts, if there's one thing you should know about me, is that I love a fun drink. The minute this came on, my partner knew I was just gonna immediately order it, and he was right, because I did. So once it comes in, I'll be doing a little taste test for y'all, and I'm very, very excited. I will say though, with how much I love fun drinks, you could never get me to start a drink company or invest in one, because as Barbara said, they do seem to be a bit of a money hole. But I'm glad there are people out there doing it, because I enjoy the product that comes from it. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.
Okay, I got called over to BS there.
What?
Okay.
Achel and Russ walked into the tank looking for $500,000 for 2.5% of their eco-friendly subscription medication. That's a $20 million valuation. So this is it. They have most of the normal over-the-counter medications that you can think of, and the idea is the first time you buy the pills with a reusable bottle, and then after that you buy refills that come in compostable bags, and you fill up your reusable bottle with those. For their starter packs that they have the reusable bottle with, they range anywhere from $10 to $14, and the refills are around $8 to $12. They said their profit margin was about 60 to 80%, And they also said that from the starter pack, their consumers are saving money, which made me slightly suspicious. So, I had to go and do some checking about price comparisons. And while some of it's true for some of them, really, with the ones I looked at, it's only true when you're talking about the brand name medications. For all the off-brands, these were way more expensive than those. So if you're thinking about buying it, I would just recommend making sure to do some price shopping and double checking. So far, they said they have 700,000 customers.
700,000.
This year, they're set to do $14 million in sales, so of course the sharks want to know if they're going to make any money off of it. Their response is that they're profitable by the unit, but they're reinvesting heavily in research and development.
To bring additional sustainable products to market. Got it. And so if I understand that question correctly...
It's very simple. Cash flow is cash flow.
Yeah.
Finally, they say they're going to have $8 million in inbound cash receipts, but net profit will be negative 20%. But they think they'll break even in quarter 3 of next year.
Why negative 20%? What's the problem?
So
they go back to how they're investing in research and development, and they say they're investing $2.5 million this year in it. After hearing this, the math is not mathing for Mark. He does not see how they're spending that much in research and development because it's not like they're making new medicine that has to go through the FDA approval process, but they explain that their packaging still has to go through the FDA approval process every time they change anything, so who knows? Barbara feels like it's the kind of business where she's gonna have to wait forever to get her money back, and it's too much risk, so she's out. Then, way too late in the game, we learned that they've raised $13 million from other investors at an $81 million valuation.
Oh, wow.
After learning about the other investors, Mark lets them know that he appreciates what they're doing about sustainability, but the numbers are just not adding up for him, so he goes out. Kevin talks about how he's already in this space with the company Blue Land that he invested in a while back, and believes in the power of sustainability motivating customers. But he thinks the valuation is ridiculous, even if they are giving them a bit of a discount from the $81 million valuation they got from their other investors. But he makes them an offer anyway of $500,000 for 12.5%. Our guest shark Tony is also interested. He loves the packaging and the high recurring business activity, so he offers $500,000 for 10%. They try to see if Kevin and Tony want to partner together, or even if Lori wants to jump in on it. Lori says she likes the idea behind the product, but hates the valuation and thinks it's out of this world, so she goes out.
Guys, it's time to make a decision, guys. You can counter, say yes, say no, it's up to you.
They counter Kevin and Tony with $500,000 for 7% equity with a royalty of 2% off the top line revenue until they're both paid back. Kevin says instead of being paid back, he wants to get double their money, aka $500,000 each. And they end up making a deal.
I'm going to DoorDash up to you guys right now.
So nice to
Final thoughts. I think it's really neat. I get it. I think it's a cool product. But I would just say if you're going into this thinking you're going to save money like they claimed, I would just double check it because sometimes it can be a little less than the name brand or equal, but especially for the off-brand medications, these are way more expensive. But again, if you're super into sustainability and all that, this is probably a great product for you. But again, I would just double check the prices and also double check the medication because, for example, their version of Mucinex doesn't quite have the same ingredients. It has about 200 milligrams less of the active ingredient. So just be careful what you're putting in your body, no matter what it is. Let me know what y'all think in the comments and I'll see you in the next one.
You know, every time I get a royalty, I feel warm and fuzzy.
Sometimes you're actually wonderful.
Never.